10 Tennessee things to know if you're considering Tennessee. Maybe you live here and you're like, I don't even know about the place I live. No, let's do Tennessee 101. Here are 10 things to know about the state of Tennessee that might help you decide if you want to move here or maybe you live here and you want to know a little bit more. Let's get started. First of all, I'm from Tennessee, born and raised in Tennessee. I was born in Memphis. We moved to Knoxville when I was 2. I lived in Knoxville until I was 18. Then I went to Carson Newman, which is down the road from Knoxville in Jefferson City. Then I lived in Memphis again. I taught there. And then I moved to Atlanta. I was in Georgia for about 5 years. And I came back to Tennessee in 2012. And I've been here ever since. So basically, I'm 38 years old and I've been in Tennessee 33 years of my life. I have studied abroad, traveled internationally, worked in Ethiopia, worked in Liberia, lived in Tanzania. I mean, I've been all over the place, been to Burma, you know me. But that being said, Tennessee is the state I know best and the place I have lived the longest. So I know a thing or two when it comes to Tennessee, and we're going to dive into that. So that's why I'm making this video for you. If you're thinking, is this for me? Let's talk about it. Okay. First of all, of our 10 things, thing number 1 to know about Tennessee is we split the state into 3 parts. And one way you know this is because if you see our Tennessee state flag, there are 3 stars, and we are called the Tri-Star State. So we've got 3 parts: East, Middle, and West Tennessee. East Tennessee is Knoxville, Chattanooga, and the Tri-Cities. Middle Tennessee is basically Nashville. Not basically Nashville, but Nashville is our big city in Middle Tennessee. And then West Tennessee is the Memphis area. So also those parts are very distinct in geography, in weather kind of, and in vibe and what they offer, kind of what they have going on. But all of them are, super cool places, just a different vibe across each area. So East Tennessee, this is like more artsy, more like folk music, this is where Smoky Mountains are. This is Eastern time. Middle Tennessee is where you find Nashville. So, big tourism. This is where the Tennessee Titans are. Our biggest airport in the state, an international airport, is in Nashville. Although other places obviously have airports, but that's kind of the big place. That's also where the Country Music Hall of Fame is. That's where you have, that's like the most touristy in terms of like places to go. Although Great Smoky Mountains are in East Tennessee, and we have over 13 million people visiting every year the national park, Great Smoky Mountains National Park. So anyways, and then West Tennessee is the very end of the state. It's about an 8-hour drive across the state. Like if you go from, and actually probably even more than that. If you go from Knoxville to Memphis, it's about 6.5 to 7 hours. So even if you go to the Tri-Cities, you're talking about 10 hours. Also note that Memphis is home of the National Civil Rights Museum. That is the home of Graceland and Beale Street, University of Memphis, Memphis Grizzlies. So all of our areas have something really awesome going on from a sports perspective, from a cultural perspective. So like I said, East Tennessee is more like a folky music, whereas Middle Tennessee is your, country music, even though country music was born in East Tennessee. That's a whole other story. But then West Tennessee is more like blues. So that's kind of cool. 3 parts, 3 different areas. And then time zone wise, East Tennessee is in Eastern time zone, whereas Memphis and Nashville are Central time. So we do have a time zone deficit. Would you call that a deficit? There is a time zone. There's a time zone difference, okay? East Tennessee, Eastern time. Everything else is Central. So that's something to keep in mind too, is maybe you don't care about that. Maybe you're moving here and you want to stay Eastern time, or maybe you don't care, whatever. Side note, we do have 2 different time zones. That can be kind of confusing, especially if you're a real estate agent like me and people want to see across different time zones. It's confusing, you know what I mean? Anyways, okay, so that being said, what are the biggest cities in Tennessee? So first of all, Nashville is by far our biggest with 708,000 people. It's followed by Memphis, which is 621,000, and our third largest is Knoxville, 195,000. Chattanooga is fourth largest, and closest in size at 184,000. So Nashville, Memphis, Knoxville, Chattanooga. Those are the order of our big cities. And from there, you kind of have like peripheries of areas. So like number 5 as an example is Clarksville. Well, Clarksville is, you know, towards the middle of the state. Murfreesboro is also a larger place, and that's towards the middle of the state. So, you know, really we've got distinction of middle, west, and east. Nashville largest, Memphis second, and Knoxville third. And then from there, we've got Chattanooga, and then you've got basically areas around Nashville, areas around Memphis. So that is just something interesting to think about. Number 3, I-40, Interstate 40 is the kind of interstate that goes from one end of the state all the way to the other. So from Knoxville, you could take I-40 all the way to Memphis. Take it through Nashville, take it all the way to Memphis. It cuts through, you have to take 81 to get to the Tri-Cities, like East Tennessee. But if you're going from Knoxville to Memphis, you could take I-40 the entire way and not even get off. You'd be hardcore because maybe you don't need to stop for the bathroom, but you know what I'm saying. You can take I-40 all the way across the state, essentially. Number 4, taxes. So Tennessee is ranked 14th overall for like the best, most tax friendly. However, we do have one of the highest sales tax. So we don't have state income tax. Property taxes are relatively low comparatively. We're talking about $1,200 on average per household for property taxes a year. I know some people, some clients, they pay $1,200 a month for their taxes, for their property taxes. No. So we have relatively low property taxes. There is no inheritance tax. There is no gift tax. You are not taxed on Social Security. So those are all super positive when it comes to also, especially, you know, retirees. But again, our state sales tax is one of the highest. So the state rate is 7%, and then it varies by area. So like in the Knoxville area, it's 9.25% as our sales tax. So that's obviously higher than a lot of other places. However, you're not paying an income tax, and your property taxes are pretty low. So that is a positive. Number 5, how affordable is Tennessee in general? So we're going to talk about kind of the areas, those major areas, Memphis, Nashville, Knoxville. So if we were to look at $100, how far does $100 go? So just for context, some of the most expensive places, and this is according to taxfoundation.org. So $100 is like $83 in San Francisco, $86 in San Diego, $87 in Honolulu. So those places are more expensive. So $83 in San Francisco is what like $100 would be in general. So if we just kind of ground, so you know kind of like what the context is. In Nashville, $100 is about $104 comparatively across the United States. So Nashville is the most expensive town according to this. How far does $100 go? So Nashville, $100 is $104. Memphis, Chattanooga, and Knoxville are all around the $110 range, so similar in price. Knoxville is a little bit cheaper comparatively to Memphis, which I would have thought actually Memphis would be more expensive, but it's not. $110.35 in Memphis versus $110.66 in Knoxville. Chattanooga is at $110.83. And then Johnson City is the least expensive by comparison, where $100 comparatively is like $114 in Johnson City. So certainly we are much less expensive than San Diego, Honolulu, Hawaii, New York, etc. And then cheaper just kind of on average based on the fact that that $100 actually goes further than your average $100 across the US. So that's kind of cool. All right. Next up, number 6. Just want to make a PSA here that we do have the mountains in East Tennessee. And so if you're looking for flat yards and flat spaces, you're more so going to find that. And this is a hugely blanket statement, but let's talk about topography. So the further east you get, the more mountainous you're getting because you're going towards the Appalachian Mountains, the Great Smoky Mountains. So just know that the Appalachian Mountains do exist, and they're on the east side of the state. So if you're wanting super flat, where's the most flat place to buy? Memphis, and then Nashville as well is on what we call a plateau. So you've got more flat options there. But if you're just like, I have to have a flat yard 100%, then your best opportunity for that is in Memphis. And again, this is blanket. Like, you could find a flat yard in the Knoxville area, but it's also not like where you'd be looking out and seeing like yards forever, right? Like if you have ever been in Dallas, you can see forever as you're flying. You cannot do that in East Tennessee. So if you're wanting a flat yard, probably don't come to East Tennessee. I'm not saying don't come here. I'm just telling you that it's, it's possible, but also we have a lot of mountains here, which always seem to surprise people. Anyways, I don't know. You tell me. All right, number 7. This is just, I just want to clear this up. We do not touch any oceans. The state of Tennessee is essentially landlocked. Like, we have lakes and rivers. We've got the Mississippi River along the west. The Tennessee River is flowing through Knoxville. So, we've got rivers here. There's a river going through Nashville, and I think it's the Cumberland. Is that, or the, Cumberland River is going through Nashville. So we've got rivers. All of our major cities have rivers, so that's cool, right? But I only bring that up because, like, Atlanta, for example, doesn't really have a river like going through the town, going through the city. You know what I mean? But anyways, that's just a random side note. This video is not about Atlanta, but you know what I'm saying. The whole point of me saying this is there's some people who have commented on past posts talking about the hurricanes in Tennessee. Well, we might get like the aftermath of a hurricane from like the East Coast, from like the Carolinas, but it's not really a hurricane, right? It's just it's the end of a tropical storm. It's a, storm event, but we don't have hurricanes. Like, we're not on the ocean. So I just want to clear that up in case you're like, I want to go live in the ocean in Tennessee. Well, hope you like lakes, because we've got that. We don't have oceans. So that's number 7. Little fun fact. You may be like, Haley, that's stupid, but I'm just telling you, the lies out there on the internet are real. We do not have oceans here, okay? Number 8, I thought this was a fun fact. When it comes to what businesses are headquartered in the state of Tennessee, our number 1 largest business that is headquartered in the state of Tennessee at the time of this video is FedEx. I just think that was really cool. Actually, if you go to Memphis, you see FedEx everywhere out of the Memphis airport. So pretty cool, right? Yeah, FedEx. Number 9, why are we the volunteer state? So Tennessee became known as the volunteer state during the War of 1812 due to the key role played by volunteers from the Tennessee militia. Newspapers of the day touted the military spirit of the men of Tennessee. The reputation was solidified in the Mexican-American War almost 36 years later, during 1848, when President James K. Polk of Tennessee issued a call for 2,600 volunteers, and 30,000 Tennesseans showed up. So that is why we are the volunteer state, because we volunteer to fight during the Mexican-American War. So that's where that name comes from, and that's directly from the Tennessee History website, tennesseehistory.org. So go check that out if you want to know more Tennessee history. Number 10, I always get questions about this. What about weather in Tennessee? Weather in Tennessee can best be described as mild. We do have 4 seasons here, and I will say that it does vary by East, Middle, and West Tennessee. So you're going to see more ice storms in Middle and West Tennessee. You're going to see more snow in East Tennessee, although it's not like we really get a lot of snow. Tennessee, on average, does have more rain, though, than many states. So, yeah, Tennessee, let's see. It's 53 inches of rain on average per year. The average for the United States is 38 inches. So we are certainly above that national average. This is saying that we get 5 inches of snow as a state per year, where the average for the U.S. is 28 inches. So more rain, less snow, essentially. On average, there are 207 sunny days in Tennessee, whereas the national average is 205 days. So we're a little bit more sunny, but we're about on par with the average. So more rain, less snow, and basically just as sunny as anywhere else. We get precipitation on average 116 days per year, and that includes snow, rain, sleet, or hail. Again, I will say that based on where you are in the state, you're going to have a little bit of a difference. So more ice storms typically in Memphis and like the middle of the state and Nashville, whereas we have more like snow events in the Tennessee area. Because East Tennessee sits in the valley, we tend to have a bit more mild weather and not as many like major weather events. So that's kind of a plus about East Tennessee. But yeah, those are just some 10 interesting and hopefully helpful things about Tennessee. I think if nothing else that you learn is that we have 3 distinct parts: middle, east, and west. And then from there, that's going to kind of help you decide, like, where do you want to be? Do you want to be closer to the mountains, or do you want more flat land? What kind of vibe are you looking for? Are you wanting to be outdoors all the time? Which actually a lot of Tennessee offers a ton of outdoor options, but East Tennessee is going to have the most in terms of like the most outdoorsy type of activities, from camping to, you know, mountains to lakes, etc. But all across the state, we've got some great options. So I hope this was helpful, and I will see you on the next video.